Well, NFL Week 9 is in the books, and we did pretty good when it came to predictions. I went 12-2, and Jade went 11-3.
That's what it should be. And I did so well, but I'm still behind.
It's like the Bears, except the doing well part. Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to another episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom Grossi.
I'm Jade Grossi.
And we're here to break down every single game in Week 10 of the NFL. As we said earlier in the introduction, we had a pretty darn good week in predictions. Right now, I'm chilling at 95-37-1, while Jade is 81-51-1.
A lot of ones.
A lot of ones. But again, not if you're the Bears, because you didn't want anything. I know it wasn't grammatically correct, but I still wanted to make fun of the Bears.
We got the point.
So starting off with our Thursday night matchup, a Thursday night game that actually might not suck. You got the Indianapolis Colts taking on the Tennessee Titans. The Titans, oh wait, who did they beat last week? Who'd they shut out for 3 quarters, even though they don't have a good defense? Oh God, I'm forgetting the team name. It's the crap in the woods. And on the field when on offense. The Bears, that's right. Yes, the Titans taking care of business every day against the Chicago Bears. While you had the Indianapolis Colts falling to Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. The Colts, I can't get a read on them. Their defense seems to be pretty good. Their offense, Now I know that they're fighting through some injuries and Phillip Rivers' terrible throwing motion. And this should be a relatively good game, an AFC South battle. I want to give it to the Titans, and so I'm going to give it to the Titans. So I'm going to go Titans here.
I will also go Titan.
Trading away their best playering into our next game, you got the Houston Texans taking on the Cleveland Browns. The Texans were able to pull off a 2-point win against the Gardner Minshew-less Jaguars. We missed you, Minshew. And the Browns, they had a bye week, but maybe they'll get Nick Chubb back, so that could be a thing. This should be a pretty good game. The Texans are not a really good team. The Browns are a mediocre team. I think the Browns should be able to pull this off, but if Baker Mayfield played like he did a couple weeks ago, they won't. But then again, the Texans have a terrible defense. If they got Chubb back, they're going to take the W. I'm going to go with the Browns here.
I'm going with the Browns. We can't keep picking the same teams.
You can introduce the next one if you want.
That's the Washington football team.
Whoa. You got to transition.
Next, we have the Washington...
No. There has been a standard that has been set on this show, and we will not go beneath that standard.
I will. Next, we have the Washington football team versus the Detroit Lions.
Good. Introduce the game. You know, what you saw, some highlights.
Why do I have to do all that to pick a team?
Because you're going to pick a team first.
I can hear you talk and then pick a team.
I mean, you don't hear me talk most of the time.
That's fair. That's a choice.
You got the Washington football team taking on the Detroit Lions. The Washington football team lost Kyle Allen to a gruesome injury. You want to see it?
No.
While the Lions, well, they had a tragic injury, but that's just their entire team. And nobody got hurt. It was just the fact that their entire team is a dumpster fire right now, getting blown out by the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, who loses to the Vikings? Dalvin Cook is too strong. Now, Alex Smith, who is the comeback story of a lifetime, should be taking the field and getting the start instead of Kyle Allen, who's going to miss several months there. The Lions, they should be able to win this football game. The Washington football team has had a pretty good defense, though, so I wouldn't go to sleep on that.
I'm going with the Washington football team.
You know what? I'm going to go with the Lions. So
Great.
There you go.
Perfect.
We did it. Walking the plank into our next game, you got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Carolina Panthers. The Buccaneers got their ass kicked. Tom Brady was like, ooh! And it either hit the ground or went to a defender. And it was so great. Now, could the Green Bay Packers beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Absolutely not. But can I still revel in the fact that we beat a team that beat the Buccaneers? You're damn right I can. Oh, God, they look so bad. The Carolina Panthers, though, looked pretty darn good against the Kansas City Chiefs, taking them down to the last second. And then they tried like a 67-yard field goal, and it was just wide right, and it didn't work out. Well, the problem is going to be Christian McCaffrey is expected not to play because of a shoulder injury, which is great considering I drafted him in 2 leagues and I had him back for a total of 1 game in which he did really, really well, and he's gone now. So because of that, I think the Buccaneers are going to come out swinging. And without CMC, I don't know if the Panthers are going to have a shot. So I'm going to go with the Buccaneers here. Thank you.
I'm going with the Panthers.
Ooh, meow. Dumpstering into our next game, you got the battle of the NFC East. You got the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the New Jersey Giants. The Eagles had a bye week, so they were saved from embarrassment for 1 more week. The Giants were able to pull off a win against Wildflower and the Washington football team. The Giants have looked pretty... I can't even say good. I can't. They looked decent against the Buccaneers, taking them to the limit. And then, they beat the Washington football team, which is not really that much of an accomplishment. Both these teams are terrible. The Eagles are getting healthy. And so because of that, I'm going to say the Eagles.
I'm also going to go with the Eagles.
Disappointing into our next game, you got the disappointing Jacksonville Jaguars just because they don't have Gardner Minshew taking on the Green Bay mother-loving Packers. It's going to be a blowout, don't you know? The Jaguars, close game with the Texans. Close game, but close doesn't cut it in this league. And the Packers, well, they had a rebound. It was great. They, a little pick-me-up. And they got that rebound just like Jade started dating me after getting out of a relationship. That was the rebound. And then I just didn't leave. And she was like, please leave. And I was like, no, I have nowhere to go. She's like, that's not my problem. And I was like, honestly, I don't even have a suitcase. And you're like, it's right there in the corner. And I was like, I don't like that suitcase because the zipper's broken. So then she went and actually repaired the zipper. And then I just lived there forever. The Packers look pretty good, and Aaron Jones is going to be back. And Alan Lazard might too, so Packers going to win.
Packers.
Jumping through a table into our next matchup, you got the Buffalo Bills taking on the Arizona Cardinals. The Bills, baby. Woo-hoo-hoo. Bills, baby. Blew out the Seahawks, and for that I am eternally grateful. Josh Allen turned up the heat. The defense destroyed Russell Wilson and his campaign for MVP. It belongs to Aaron Rodgers. While the Cardinals lost to the Dolphins. You done know what you did, Cardinals. Now, obviously, some of that was because of special teams. It was because of the good defense that the Dolphins apparently have this season. No one knew about that. This could be a close game.
I'm going with the Bills.
Oh, okay. The thing that I'm going to say is the Cardinals don't really have a defense to speak of. And so because of that, I'm going to be going with the Bills as well. We'll see what offense for the Bills actually shows up. Dead battering our way into our next game. You got the LA Chargers taking on the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins pulling off another W with Tua, Ticonderoga, Kaboa, Loa, Taboa, Roa, Noah. It's Ark. He won his second game. They look pretty good, too. Now, the Chargers are literally the epitome of sadness. They have choked away so many games, lost so many games on the last play of the game, and honestly, I just feel bad for Justin Herbert. The Dolphins, honestly, have come out of nowhere. This is going to be a tough game to predict.
Dolphins.
But I am going to go with the aquatic mammals and go with the Dolphins. Though, I will say, if you put a Charger in the same water as a dolphin,
the Charger's going to win.
Yeah, the dolphin would die. And you get locked up for animal abuse. So, don't do that. Galloping and then breaking their leg and being put down into our next game, you got the very injured Denver Broncos taking on the Vegas Raiders. The Raiders were able to pull and squeak one out against the Chargers last week, while the Broncos, oof. Losing to the Falcons. That's when you know things have gone very, very wrong. But then again, things haven't really gone right for the Broncos this season. But they did beat the Patriots that one time, but that's starting to look less and less like an achievement. The Raiders should win this divisional matchup, and so I'm going to say the Raiders are going to win this divisional matchup.
I'm also going to say the Raiders.
Terrible defensing our way into our next game. You got the Seattle Seahawks taking on the LA Rams. The Seahawks, as we talked about before, got smacketh aroundeth by the Billiths. That was Old English. I don't know if you needed a translation for that. You got that?
I got it.
Perfect. The Rams coming off a bye week, and the Rams, God, they're so hot and cold. They're not like our shower, because I was corrected last time that I made that comparison. So I will say that they are hot and cold, like either side of the pillow.
Like icy hot.
Random note, don't put that on your genitalia.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The Seahawks have one of the most explosive offenses in the NFL. And also one of, and this is true, one of the worst defenses. They're on track to be one of the worst defenses of all time. The Rams, again, they're just so inconsistent. I can't get a read on them. I think the Seahawks have a much better offense. And so because of that, I'm going to go with the Seahawks, but I'm not saying any of that with confidence.
I'll go with the Rams.
Ooh. Getting sacked into our next game, you got Joe Burrow in the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers had a really close game with the Cowboys, which is not a statement you want to hear in 2020. The Bengals, I'm so sorry, Joe Burrow, that for everything that you're going through. They beat the Titans a couple weeks ago. That was probably their Super Bowl. Will they be able to take on the AFC North divisional rival Steelers, who are the only undefeated team left in the AFC?
No.
They might. Ben Roethlisberger injured both his knees and got put on the COVID list. Not necessarily that he has COVID, but he got put on the list because high risk. He's probably not going to play, at least when we're recording this on Wednesday. So I'm going to go with the shocker here, and I'm actually going to say the Bengals. I'm going to go for the upset. It's a risky pick.
All right, I'll go with the Steelers.
Ooh. Practice squatting our way into our next game. You got the 49ers, or at this point, the 48ers, because it's not even Aider. No. It just because they're not even the team, so it's like the B squad, so it's like the 48ers. Taking on the Saints. The Saints, as we talked about, oh boy, they took off their metal gauntlet and slapped the Buccaneers 3 times in the face, challenged them to a duel, then kicked them in the nuts and walked away. Oh. The 49ers, they lost to the Packers. Nick Mullins is going to get the start again. I don't even know if any of their running backs are going to get back. They'll have some of their wide receivers back, but yeah, the Saints should win this game. I'm really disappointed too, because if everyone's at full strength, this is going to be a really good game. So I'm a little disappointed.
Saints!
Edgar Allan Poeing our way into our next game. You got the Baltimore Ravens taking on the New England Patriots. The Patriots having a showdown to the death against the New York Jets. Again, another statement you don't want to hear in the NFL this year. And actually, for the first time this season, the Jets can't lose this week. They're on a bye. That's it. This, again, should have been a very good game. If the Ravens want to be taken seriously, they will beat the Patriots. The Patriots have not looked good, and because of that, I think the Ravens should take this one. And if they don't, we're going to have a serious conversation, birds.
I'm just choosing the Ravens because I don't want to choose the Patriots.
Makes sense.
Ooh, Vikings!
Said no one ever into our next game.
But you are going to say them because you're not going to pick the Bears. So you will say Vikings. Got him.
This is my nightmare. The Minnesota Vikings able to pull off another W. That makes 2 in a row. And now all of a sudden Vikings fans are like, oh man, we could make the playoffs.
If you put 2 V's together, it makes a W. So 2 Vikings games both got wins.
But if you flip it upside down, it forms an M for morons. If you flip it again, it's an E for egregious. And if you flip it again, it's a 3, the amount of wins. Taking on the Chicago Bears. The Bears' offense is freaking hot, stinking garbage. Their defense is still really, really good. The Vikings, we should start even calling them the Vikings. They're the Dalvin Cooks now. That's what we're going to call them now.
So the cooks. How about just the cooks?
Nope, the Dalvin cooks.
Or just the Dalvin.
Because that's the thing. If they were cooking for me, I wouldn't eat that food because it would be poisonous garbage. So no, I don't. Nope, it would be.
No?
It would be. I've seen
could be
Fargo.
good.
I've seen Fargo. That this latest season, what happened? Baked a pie, had poison in it. Spoilers. This is a tough game to predict, and I want them both to lose. You know what? I'm gonna go with the Bears.
That's harsh. I'm going with the Vikings. Sorry, everyone.
Can't wait for them
Let's
to
hope for the
lose
best.
again. But let us know what you think down in the comments below. Those are our predictions for Week 10. Let us hear you. You can always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com or at TomGrossiComedy, all social media, see down below. Check out podcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, and of course YouTube. And a big shout out and thank you to all our Patreons over at Patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy on YouTube members. Thank you so much for watching. Jade has to go, so I wanted to make sure I got through that fast. I'm Tom Grossi.
And I'm Jade Grossi.
And as always, go Pack Go.